Those are 5 exercises that I give on my online course. For like the upper back, it's not so much a multi-joint, but I like to do a plank, like a plank on your forearms, whether it's on your knees or on your toes, and really getting the proper posture there. So I'll just give a little demonstration as if this were the floor. What we don't want is kind of rounded, like your shoulder blades apart. We want to bring your shoulder blades back, which really cues in like the core underneath, the lumbar thoracic stability, but also we'll start to get your scapular stabilizers, which I often find are deconditioned or weak as your posture gets more and more rounded. Those muscles become, they don't start to help us on the length tension relationship. So they're really long and weak. And so if we can start to strengthen those and bring those in towards your spine, that's how I introduce scapular stabilization, is in a plank.
That's interesting.
So I always like to start with that too.
Well, that makes sense because that's how we use it most of the time, or when we need to, like to maintain upright posture. It's a little bit more of an isometric movement, don't you think? Versus concentric, or like maybe a little bit of concentric, not a lot of eccentric, which is a little technical, I know, for people listening, but that makes sense. Like when I'm trying to sit up straight, sit up straight and do that as a plank on the floor. I think it's just a different focus for me, because a lot of times when I'm doing planks, I'm focusing on my core and I'm not focusing so much on my scapular positioning. So that's a really good tip. Yeah. What are some other ones?
It's a lot easier to hold a plank when you're, if people are, like I'll work with people on overhead motion with light weights, and that's kind of hit or miss on whether people have old shoulder injuries that make it a little harder. So if like overhead motion with light weights, I just do if you can't do a press up straight with a 5-pound weight, then try with like a seated backrest to like push against, and that will make it a little easier, and you'll still be able to get those shoulder strengthening. And if that's too much, or it doesn't work, or you're sore in your like joints, then I like to get people with their hands, maybe like ideally on the ground, but if you just even have them on the table and you can stretch, and that will help pull your spine into a more upright posture, like trying to get those thoracic, which are your kind of middle 12 vertebrae, getting those stacked on top of each other. So that's an exercise I like. I really like lunges.
Pose. Like child's pose, if people are doing yoga, right? That's the one you were trying to describe.
I would say downward dog was the one I was describing.
Downward dog. So child's pose is the hands are like in the front and you're kneeling on the ground, and you're and you're reaching your hands out as far as you can. So it's a lot like down dog, but you're kind of just on your knees. So would that still work?
Yeah, that'd be a beginner stage of down dog.
Gotcha.
And that's more like a stretch, which I definitely like, but I like the challenge more of having your legs off the ground and having to get that input into your arms. That would be in down dog.
Okay.
Yeah, those are kind of the exercises, and those are, now that we're going through them, those are 5 exercises that I give on my online course. So one of the modules is just balance, strength, and posture. And I kind of go through my 5 favorite exercises, which I think now we've at least gone through 3 of them, and kind of how to scale those, make them easier or harder based on where you are at in your strength and mobility adventure. So that is one of the things I try to cater to on that course.